In today's video, we're going to do a comprehensive analysis of the Moana 2 trailer. The highly anticipated sequel is on the horizon, and the trailer has already given us some fascinating clues about what we can expect. Let's delve into the most interesting theories about the plot, the new challenges that Moana may face, and, most importantly, discuss one of the biggest fan speculations. Is Moana now a mother and has a daughter? Stick with us to explore all these possibilities and much more. You are on the Horse Animated channel, and I'm thrilled that you're here. Disney had already revealed the synopsis of this film, which is as follows. After receiving an unexpected call from her seafaring ancestors, Moana will travel to distant seas of Oceania in lost waters and embark on another dangerous adventure. This story takes place 3 years after the first film, and of course, Moana is already more mature in both appearance and personality. In the teaser, we observe Moana returning to her island. At the end of the film, her people became navigators, leaving the island that was their home to explore new territories. In this new adventure, Moana returns to her old home, which explains why she beats the drum in the cave. She is revisiting her place of origin. Perhaps she does this regularly, traveling and returning to the island to visit. However, I believe that this time she really returned because Hei is with her, joining her in this new adventure. Still, the journey will not be limited to familiar places, as the synopsis indicates, which suggests traveling to distant seas. The scene where Moana picks up the shell strongly resembles Lolotai, mainly because there's a crab in the shell, which inevitably brings to mind Tamatoa, even though it's a red crab. When Moana picks up the shell and places another one of a different shape next to the creature, it evokes a certain resemblance to the monster realm. If you compare it with an image of Lolotai, you'll notice this similarity. Some fans speculate that these hands are not Moana's, but Maui's, and that this shell has an important meaning for the plot, as Moana keeps the shell attached to her clothes. I believe they are Moana's hands, and perhaps the shell doesn't have such a significant meaning. As I mentioned, it's quite likely that Moana returns to her island, and this shell scene could mark the moment of her return. Or it could be another island, as it seems quite small. It could be the place where she meets the 3 new characters. Perhaps blowing the shell is the signal she needs to find them. In the teaser, we get a better look at their faces, an elderly man, a young woman, and a man. It's still unclear whether these characters live on her island and volunteered to help or if she met them along her journey, similar to Raya in Raya and the Last Dragon, where she encountered people in each region, and they joined her. The likelihood of them being volunteers is high, as we observe a lightning strike in the tent while Moana was talking, possibly in a meeting with her people. They may be discussing trivial or even important matters, or performing a ritual to communicate with a god. These new characters may be members of Moana's village. It was revealed that the 3 of them were also summoned by their ancestors for this mission. Moana's ancestors' call is to unite the people. She states that this is the call of the ancestors, to sail among the stars and reconnect her people across the vast ocean. My theory is that Moana is tasked with reuniting the people once again through the ocean. I believe this doesn't only refer to humans but also to the creatures we saw in the first film and the new ones to come. The coconuts don't seem to be against her but rather fighting for the same goal. Another creature appears, which seems to be a rock, and may be fighting with Moana or trying to make room for her to pass. As for the human unity, these 3 characters may be from other peoples, representing each a different culture. Looking at them, including Moana, they don't seem to be from the same region. Their union for the journey somehow unites the people as one. We see the father, mother, and people bidding farewell, apparently to Moana, as they know it is her destiny, and if not, there will be more lightning. Did you notice that Moana's mother's expression seemed very worried? Unlike her father and that woman from the first film who allowed Moana to restore Te Whiti's heart? At least I felt and feel that everything to come will be much more difficult than restoring the goddess's heart. Moreover, her father seems to have aged, right? And, of course, we can't forget about Moana's sister. It's quite evident that the child Chief Tue is holding is Moana's little sister because I don't believe the tribe chief would hold just any child. Moreover, she's practically wearing the same top that Moana wore at the beginning, which could be a gift from her sister or something like that. I've seen people saying she's Moana's daughter, but come on, let's think, it's only been 3 years, and we didn't see any romantic involvement with the girl, and suddenly she's pregnant? That doesn't make sense, right? But honestly, I don't think Moana will have a romantic interest anytime soon. And if she does, maybe they'll start to develop it in this movie. We might see her having a slight crush on someone. After all, with the time jump, there wouldn't be a problem with her thinking about starting a family and leading with someone by her side. The whale shark could represent an ancestor of Moana or even her father, who might pass away. This is a plausible theory since the first image of the animal was released. As it has tattoos and fluorescent lights like Grandma Tala, it's clear that it's someone who passed away and reincarnated into the marine animal. However, seeing Moana's father, who now even has a new daughter, staying on the island and saying goodbye, I believe it's more likely to be an ancestor of Moana, as she mentioned that her ancestors called her for this mission to unite the people. It could be the one we saw in the first film, as we saw him as a spirit and now taking the same form as Tala did, the animal form. Another theory involves these new creatures living in Lolotai, just like the crab Tamatoa. It's possible that he's involved in this, as I find it unlikely that they would leave out this character, and it would be a big mistake not to include him. I believe that if he doesn't have a relevant role seeking revenge against Maui, at least a participation in Lolotai would be important. Maui's brief appearance clearly indicates that he will help Moana, but what I found interesting was him mentioning Pua and the reason why Moana didn't take the pig with her in the first movie. I missed that a lot. However, it's noticeable that he may have appeared before the three new characters were with her, as we don't see them interacting with Maui at any point. I believe this could be kept throughout the movie, and if so, it will be somewhat dull, as only Moana, in her human form, saw Maui's true form and interacted with him. In my opinion, and you can share yours in the comments, I felt a vibe of an animation that got a series, like what happened with Monsters at Work, derived from Monsters Incorporated. The animation isn't bad, but you can tell there wasn't a big investment in it. I don't know if this is because I was already aware that this story was originally meant to be a series. Perhaps, as the story was so well received by Disney, they decided to turn it into a movie, and that may have affected my perception in some way. Or maybe it really feels more like an animated series. Either way, it's important to note that it's not bad. The animation is very beautiful, but it doesn't convey the feeling of cinema. Lately, I don't dare to bet on any movie. I prefer not to create huge expectations and end up disappointed after leaving the cinema. But theoretically, if the story was initially planned to be a series and they decided to turn it into a movie, this suggests that the story must be quite solid. What intrigues me the most is how the adaptation of Moana's people, now travelers, will be. Will they be jumping from island to island, or have they settled elsewhere and stayed? It seems that's what happened. I would love to have answers about Moana's family connection with the ancestors. Why does this connection exist? Is it because she's in the lineage of the tribe chiefs? It would be very interesting if they explored whether the connection with the ocean is something passed down through generations, a family legacy, perhaps. Another question that could be clarified is whether Moana would be a kind of demigoddess, like Maui, but her power would be the connection with the ocean. Or if she just has great luck surviving. Another detail is that Lin-Manuel Miranda is not involved in this production. For those who don't know, he's literally the biggest name behind Disney's incredible music. He composed the soundtrack of Madrigal Family and, especially, Moana, but didn't contribute any music to this film. And from what Disney has announced, Moana will be a musical. So, what are your expectations? Excited for Moana 2? What are your theories? What do you think will happen? Share in the comments. Don't forget to leave your like. If you're not subscribed yet, take the opportunity to subscribe to the channel, as we'll have a lot of content about this universe here. Turn on the bell to receive notifications of future videos. On the end screen, I'll leave a video for you to explore more of my content. Until the next video.